in this video I'm going to go through some Zoom tricks to help you to create professional online sessions and webinars. So some of these are going to be just how Zoom works, because I think some people get really confused about the information that goes out or what they mean and how to use it. And some of it is a few features on Zoom that you might not have looked at or seen, and how you might use those to improve the effectiveness and professionalism of your online session. So the first thing I'm going to do is I wanted to go through the different options. Now, Zoom has a desktop account. So if you go to Zoom US, then log into your account. This is the desktop account, and that has a few more settings and a few more things that you don't get on the app. The other one is the Zoom app. So this is down here. So this is my Zoom app. So there are settings in here as well, but some of the things that I'm going to show you, you can only do on the desktop account. I'm just going to click on pricing and plans because I have the Zoom One Pro account. So everything that you see on my Zoom is from the Pro account. I think the only difference is that in the basic one, your meetings can only last for 40 minutes. I think all the features that I'm going to show you are available in the basic plan. But I just want to kind of caveat that because I've got the Pro plan. So if there's a couple of things that aren't there, then it may be because I've got a Pro plan and you're on the basic plan. Okay, so the first thing, let's get into it. Zoom invitation. So many people say that they do not understand all the information that goes out on the invite for their Zoom meeting and what it means and how somebody accessing would use that information. So if I just show you one of mine and show the invitation, this is an example of what the invitation will look like, and there's sort of loads of numbers and loads of things. So people can, this is the bit that they really need, which is the URL for your particular meeting. Now, they can go to any browser and type in that and it will take them to your meeting. They can also access via typing in your meeting ID. This works on their website. So if you go to Zoom website and join, it will come up with what's the meeting ID and what's the password. So people don't necessarily have to have Zoom in order to join your meeting. They can literally join from the Zoom website. All of the numbers that are at the bottom here are international dialing numbers. So this is for people who are going to join your meeting by phone. So if you are not going to give people the option to join by phone, you don't need any of this bit here, because that's only if they need to dial in via a telephone. Okay? So the next thing that I want to talk about is settings. I think so many people haven't gone into their settings and checked or set them up in a way that they like. So let's just go through where you'd find your settings and the sorts of things that you might like to go through. So on the desktop app, you go home and then click on the little whirligig and all of your settings will be here. So that's the mobile app. And online, if you log into your account and then go to settings down here, then this is where all your settings will be found. So we've got meeting settings, settings for the recordings, the audio conferencing. So this is all the phone number elements that I've just talked to you about. There's also whiteboard settings. So I'll go through whiteboard in a little bit. You can have a play with that. But there are loads of settings in your mobile app, your online app, sorry. In your settings, things like settings for your video, settings for your microphone, settings for sharing screen, your background is in here. This is where you can add backgrounds. I've done another video about YouTube backgrounds, so I will share that one in a thing above, so you can go and have a look at that one if you want. while I'm in backgrounds, one little Zoom trick that I think is important is this mirror my video. Some people get really annoyed because when they are doing Zoom, they lift up their hand to their hair and it's the opposite way round than what they think, and then they get confused at what they're pointing at or what they're doing, and that is because you haven't got this little box ticked, mirror my video, which then flicks you around the other side. So that's a little hack for you. You might want to set where your recordings are going to, so that then when you do downloads it goes to somewhere that you can find them. That's a quick little Zoom trick, just for you to check that and choose something as well. So go through that. One of the ones that I like is in recording you can switch off automatic recording. So when you go into Zoom, if you don't like the fact that when you launch a meeting it starts recording automatically, you can switch that off. So just go through all of your settings in Zoom and make sure that it's set up the way that you would like it to be set up. So there's loads in here, like waiting rooms to be on or off, a standard, meeting passcodes to be on or off, a standard, so that then when you're setting up a meeting it takes you less time because it's already a standard the way that you want it to be. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is launch a meeting in Zoom and talk about security. So when I do that, you're going to get two of my heads. So I appreciate that that's going to be slightly annoying, but I can't do anything about it. So meeting security starts off when you first create your meeting. So if you are at home and you're going to schedule a meeting, then choosing a passcode here is your first layer of security for a meeting. Because if they don't have that passcode, then they won't be able to get in. Some people have said, how come sometimes when I log in, the passcode, it doesn't require me a passcode, and other times when I do, it does. And that is because it depends if your settings have got embedded passcode enabled, because that means that if somebody's got the link, so if it's in an email, then if you've got an embedded passcode, it will say, well, because they've already got the link in an email, then they're already invited to that meeting. So the passcode is only going to come up for other things, like, for example, if you go to the Zoom website and type in the meeting ID, then it's going to ask you for the passcode. So it depends on the settings that you've got for the passcode as to whether it's always going to ask people for it or it's sometimes going to ask those sorts of things. So that's these are security level 1. Put a passcode in, and also waiting room is really useful because then you have to admit somebody into the meeting. So if somebody accidentally dials into the wrong meeting, or some hacker weird person tries to get into your meeting, they will come into the waiting room and you just won't let them in. So that's another level of security that you can have a waiting room. Okay, so let me go to one of my meetings. Let's just start this one. The next level of security that I want to talk about, I'm going to put my head over my head and not put the audio on, so that then it hopefully won't be just as confusing. So the next level of security is here, where you can click and you can lock the meeting. So if you're having a one-to-one session with somebody, that person has arrived, you can then lock the meeting, which means then nobody else can get into that meeting. You can also disable some of these if you want to stop people from doing certain things. You can do that in security. So make sure that you are using the security features that are available in Zoom to protect your meetings and make them as professional as possible. Another little tip for professional meetings is regarding recordings. Please do have it in your terms and conditions, or ask your client if that's okay, or make it very clear at the beginning if you're doing a webinar or a group coaching to say that it will be recorded. People can turn off their videos if they don't want, but you need permission, and people usually would like to know where you're going to share that recording so that they can make a choice over whether they want their face to be on it. So just, be kind in that way. Okay, so moving on to some of the more exciting and interesting features. Polls is a really interesting one. I don't know many people that have yet used polls. It's better if you set up polls before the meeting. You can do it quickly in a meeting if you've just forgotten one, but it is better if you do it before the meeting. So what you need to do it before the meeting is go to the desktop account, go to your particular meeting. So what was it? YouTube videos, edit. And then at the bottom, right at the bottom, there is polls here, and we can create. These are really great for like group coaching. If you want throughout that particular session to ask the group set of questions, and then you can get their responses, and then if you want to, you can share them with the group, and then you can get, 80% of you were recorded this, or 2% of you said this. So if you just put coaching call 1, and then we change the question to be, how are you feeling this week? You can have a single response, a multiple response, and then in here we can just change these. Not great, okay, amazing, whatever, and save. So that is then a poll that is saved for that particular meeting, and then if I return to my Zoom meeting, let me just see where it is. Then if I go into polls, it is here, and I can launch and share that particular poll, and if you edit it, it'll take you back to the screen where I was. And these are really great to get your people interacting, especially if you're doing a webinar or you're doing a coaching call, a group coaching call. Then these can be really great at sharing your various polls. And then if you click the down arrow, then there's your different questions are here that you have created. So there's the one that I've just done. The other one that I thought was a nice trick to go through was whiteboards, and Zoom have done quite a lot of work on the whiteboards recently to make them a little bit more user friendly. You might not have come across the whiteboards yet. So back on the desktop app, if we go to settings and then we scroll to whiteboards, they've now introduced all of these. These are the settings for what happens and when it happens. And then in here, sorry, wrong one, there. In here, there are some templates which are new, and that is really interesting, and you can edit them. So again, great for group coaching calls, great for therapy sessions. If there's a particular way that you do something, then you can choose one of these and you can edit it to make it your own. So say you wanted to do like this, but you didn't want it to be the full marketing piece. If you click that and use this template, you can then edit it and save it, and then you can use it in your particular call. So it is here, make it bigger. So you can start playing with this and changing the boxes. Sticky notes is just at the side here to add a sticky note, so you can just add another sticky note, things like that. So you could build something that's really good for coaching calls. And then I will show you once you've saved it. And then if you go to whiteboards here, you will have your little thing and you can open it, and then they can participate. So when you choose a whiteboard, they can then draw and let you know, get involved with your particular coaching call, meeting, whatever you are doing. So I think that is another great feature that you might not have come across before. And the last one that I wanted to go through was advanced settings on share screen. So if you go to share screen, it comes up with the various options: share a whiteboard or share your desktop or whatever. But you have advanced, and one of the things in advanced is slides as virtual background. Now what this does is when you're doing a webinar in particular, it puts you in front of your slides. I will show you. So let's just pick this presentation. It will prepare my slides for me. It is going to take just a minute as it prepares them all. Look, puts me here on my slide, so people will then see me here on the slide, which I think is fantastic for webinars. So that's how you do that. So let me end this meeting. I hope that has given you a few interesting, let me just close all of these, interesting and helpful little tools and techniques about Zoom. And go and explore, go and have a play and get used to using the software so that you can make your online sessions and your webinars really slick and professional. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching and joining me, and I will see you next time for the next video.